Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another weekly setup. So we are going to be analyzing and breaking down over 20 pairs using fxalexg and Forex strategy, and these are the best pairs we will be willing to trade next week. So coming over to my screen, so before we proceed, let us do a little bit of trade recap of how last week went. In fact, last week, if you won any trade, you'll be mailing, right? So anyway, let me show you how last week went. So this right here, I called GPP card, right, for sales, and pretty much we lost the trade, right? So this is the trade right here, GPP card. So this is the trade right here. So let me go over to the entry time frame to show you what happened right there. So as you can see, at the time of entry, price was bearish, right? As you can see, it was clearly creating new lows, breaking structures to the downside. All we needed was a confirmation to enter. So this right here was still on Friday, so we did not really enter here until Monday kicked in. So as Monday kicked in, we were just looking for an engulfing. Price did not break above this high, so it was still a valid one, right? So it simply means I was not actually expecting this trend line to get broken. Then we got the confirmatory entry, which is a very strong one. It engulfed about 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 hours in under 1 hour, right? Under 1 hour engulfed 8 hours. So I was feeling pretty confident on it, and price pretty much did not even enter profits for reversed, and you can see the reversal. It just shows me that I'm totally wrong on this trade. As you can see, it was not just a weak out, it was a total reversal of the trade. From the EME, you can clearly see at the point of entry it was bearish, at the point of stop loss it has shifted bullish, as you can clearly see. So that was the trade I took this week. There are other trades I was paying attention for this week. So this one is AlexG trade, which is GPP NZD, right? So GPP NZD is pretty much, well, pretty much around 1:1 right now. We still don't have any clean entries. This big trade, this big one, is actually AlexG trade, right? I just put it on my chart to monitor how it goes. But these other two trades are just entries, that potential entries that I could have taken. So this right here was a break, retest, engulfing, but the market structure at that time was still bearish. So that's why this one I did not actually take it. This one I could have taken it, but I was not just active on the chart. So this right here was break, retest, and engulfing. So as you can see, this price pretty much came around 1:1, came back to break even, 1:1 again, came back to almost stop loss again, and pretty much around 1:1 again. So still do not have any decision on this market. So this market this week was rubbish market structure, to be honest, right? Last week I was waiting for this break and retest on Euro JPY. It never happened. Took a loss on GPP card, GPP JPY. Pretty much went to the direction but with no entries, so there was no entry on this market. GBP USD pretty much never paid attention to this market, but this market had the confirmation. So as you can see, we are waiting for price to have a retracement back to around this area, and if we can get a bearish market structure and an engulfing, we can enter. So as you can see, here was still bullish, and then it shifted bearish right here. So at the retracement, this could have been the entry right here. Oh, that is the actual entry. Then stop loss around here. So as you can see on this market, price pretty much was around close to 1 pip or 2 pips to final take profit, and it just reversed. This is what I'm talking about, that this week was really just dog shit, right? And the last pair was supposed to be this one for sales. We were supposed to wait for a break and retest, and he actually had the entry right here. As you can see, this is the break, this is the retracement, doji, and engulfing right here. So we could have entered here and put our stop loss around here, and you can see reversed again. So this week, absolutely, that's what I mean by, if you took profit this week, let me know in the comment section, because I want to see who actually won this week, right? By the way, gold has been dumping back to back throughout this entire week, as you can just clearly see. Dumping. I think on Thursday, this dump right here was 3,000 pips on Thursday, right? Anyway, let's see what we have for this week. So, we'll delete everything on this market, and let us see what we really have. All right, so let's see. GBP NZD. GBP NZD market structure is currently bullish. So this right here is the higher high, and this right here is the higher low. Oh, and by the way, I learned something new last week. Right, let me show you guys before we just proceed, please. How to calculate your lot size without actually going all the way to lot size calculators. You can just calculate it right here on TradingView. So let me show you guys. Right, let me just show you guys easy way to calculate your lot size. So this right here, let's assume you're entering on this market. Right, let's assume you're entering on this market. So what you do, assuming you are planning to buy, you just put your risk reward ratio tool here. Right, put where your stop loss is supposed to be. For example, is here, and then your target, or let's just reduce it. So assuming this is how your trade is looking, right? How do you calculate the lot size for this trade? So you just come to your risk to reward ratio to click, right click, or just click on settings on your phone, right? Then you click on this create limit order, right? So I just learned this last week, create limit order. Then you can just choose your broker if it's actually here. For me, my broker is not actually here. There's Binance here, there's other brokers. If you don't have your broker here, just click on this paper trading. It just simply means demo account, right? But what you're planning on doing is just to calculate the lot size, right? So now again, you just do the same thing, right click, create limit order, right? Then you will see this interface right here. You see this interface right here. What you have to do is click on market, right? Click on market right here, market order, right? Then you can see this means risk in USD. How much are you planning on risking in dollars? So assuming you are risking $100 on this trade, right? Then here you switch this one, just click here and switch it to units right here, right? So pretty much you're going to be risking $100 on this trade, and this actually supposed to be the lot size, but remember this is in units, so I'll show you how to really get the actual lot size, because it's actually just showing in units, right? So but let's just continue. If you look at this, it's showing me that this risk reward ratio is 3.26. so let's see. As you can see, here is 3.56. I don't even know why it's different, right? So pretty much the risk reward ratio, okay, this one right here, take profits price, is this price right here. So if you look to the left, you see 3.30 something like that. That is this. Then how many pips is that? Is 138 pips. If you calculate the pips, you see that it will be 138 pips. Stop loss, whatever. So this right here is the exact amount you will lose if it's roughly around that same $100. You can see it's 99.96, right? This is the exact amount you will lose when you actually put this unit. So this unit is actually the technically lot size, but it's a unit. So but you cannot use 40,000 lot size. You know what I'm saying? You just know that it's wrong calculation. So the actual calculation of this, which I've never figured out how to just change this to lot size, right? It's just showing me in units. The actual lot size to use is that amount. So let me show you what I mean. So we have what the unit is showing you 40,384, right? So anytime you just get that 40,384, right? If you just write the unit here and divide every unit by 100,000, this is okay, 2 more zeros, and you calculate it, you see that you are going to be using 0.4384. So you can just do 0.40, right? 0.40 is your actual lot size to put. So once you put 0.40, if price gets to this point, you're going to be losing 99.96, which is exactly around $100. And then if you win, you can clearly see you're going to be winning about $326, right? So I mean, I'm still learning exactly. I just understand the full concept, but I'm still like, I'm going to be testing it out to see how it plays out, right? How clear it plays out. So the reason I'm doing this is because other lot size calculators, they pretty much have like different lot size. So I actually use like 3 different lot size calculator. The normal lot size calculator, on Forex Factory, funded my FX book, right? Then I use FTMO lot size calculator, and then I just take the average, because those things sometimes it just gives you different calculations, right? Especially for gold. I don't know, man. Gold lot size calculations are always wrong. I don't know what's the problem there. Anyway, so let's continue with the weekly setups, right? Let's show you what we have for this week. All right, GBP let's start with the daily time frame. Daily time frame is bullish, right? So higher high right here, higher low right here, right? All right, so if this time frame is bullish, daily is bullish, weekly time frame is what? Well, bearish, right? Lower low, lower high. So let's see what the 4 hour is doing. 4 hour time frame is technically bearish, right? So this right here is the lower low, and this right here is the lower high. Overall direction of this market looks to buy. It's looking like it's supposed to be buying, right? Because of how the momentum of the market is looking like, right? So for us to enter this market, let us look at the daily time frame again for area of interest. Area of interest on the daily time frame is not that clean, but let us see. Let me see this. Nah, I'm not really liking it. So we might not really trade NZD, GBP NZD for this week. Might not actually trade this for this week. But wait, let me see. Is this really valid area of interest? So we have one rejection here, we have two rejection here, and we have at least three rejection here. So it might actually play out. Final take profit target on this market is supposed to be this structure point on the daily time frame. So for us to buy, we actually just need like a break and retest to this area to potentially buy to this area. Let's see how the forward looks. I mean, it's not a bad trade. It's not a bad trade. I'll just keep it on the sidelines to decide on it later, but it's not really a bad trade. Euro JBY next pair. So the daily time frame, let's delete everything to see what we have. Alright, so seems like Euro JPY has decided to move bullish. This market structure is not so clean, but this is a bullish market structure right now. On a normal day, we're supposed to just wait for a retracement to around this level to continue buying, right? But the area of interest, I can already barely see it. I can barely see an area here. Weekly time frame, it's not even clean. 4 hour time frame, time frame, there might be an area right here, but will I be really willing to risk it? Let me come a little bit closer to see this. So multiple rejections on this area, rejected it, 3 more respected by price, and price is currently above that area right now. Well, the accurate game plan on this market is to wait for a retracement to around this level to buy, but I don't know, I'm not liking it. Again, we'll keep it close to decide. I've not gotten any pair that I just like right now. So let's delete everything on this market and see what we have. So this right here, okay, so this right here is what GBP card on the 4 hour time frame. Let's see how it looks on the daily first. GBP card is currently bullish. This is the higher high, higher low. Daily is bullish, weekly is what? Weekly is bearish, and 4 hour is bullish. So we have daily and 4 hour bullish, right? Okay, so let's see. The area of interest we might be using might be this 4-hour area of interest. Okay, who be all these people? Might be this 4-hour area of interest. Daily time frame. If I extend this 4-hour area of interest to the right, we at least have two minor rejections on the daily time frame, which is this one right here and this one right here, right? So we are expecting buys on this market next week. Let's see how the weekly looks again. Weekly is bearish. Okay, weekly is bearish. So let's see how the 4-hour looks. Okay, 4-hour is also bullish. So okay, let me see how the 1-hour will look for the entries. So 1 hour, there are no clean entries. I mean, obviously it looks like you could buy from here, but this market structure is bullish, but nah, I don't know. I don't like this. I need the entries. I need it to be a very clean break and retest. This right here is a break, and the retracement has structures, right? Has structures. So what I mean is that this right here is like a break, right? Coming down should just be the retracement, and engulfing to just buy. You understand what I mean? But this right here, the retracement is it just retrace a little bit, bought a little bit, broke structure to the downside a little bit. Even if the overall market structure here is bullish, I just don't feel confident because of this structure, this internal structure right here. EMA, by the way, is still above, holding price as resistance. We can't necessarily just buy from here. You see, that's where I'm skeptical about this trade, right? But this might be a very good area to buy because the area has been reflected by price both on the daily and on the 4-hour time frame. Still not liking this pair. Next pair, GPP JPY. So let's see how it looks on the daily time frame. Why is it so hard to analyze today here? So GPP JPY daily time frame is currently bullish, right? Is it? Okay, yes, it's bullish. So this right here is the higher high. This right here, higher high. And this right here is the higher low. Right? Area of interest is still going to be this one right here. Price is already way too far from area of interest. There's no any other valid area of interest I can see here, right? Again, doesn't seem like we're going to be taking this trade this week. So this video is just going to be very boring, right? By opting now, we still don't have any good market to trade, right? This video is going to be very boring. If you are going to be watching this video, I low-key respect you because even me creating a video here. Alright, so GPP USD next pair. We are just looking for a pair that can give us opportunity. It is so hard this week. I don't know. Maybe it's because last week was really just volatile. Just look at what I mean, right? On a normal day, we have a clear break. We have a retracement. This is the daily time frame, right? And we are pretty much going to be catching this engulfing. So that's what we try to catch. But if we are entering on the daily time frame, for example, which is not really the entry point, right? If we are going to be entering on the daily time frame, what do you expect from this candle right here? After engulfing, we expect the price should create a new lower low. By the way, this last candle is a Marabuzu candle, which means it doesn't have a wick to the bottom, right? And price did not even come back to create that wick. That would have given us a very clean 1:2 to 1 ratio trade. But guess what? Price just reversed. So you see this last week, I just pray it doesn't happen again, right? I don't like how last week went. Market was just literally all over the place last week. So let's see what we have for this week. So right now, daily time frame is currently, let's look at the bigger picture. It's currently still bearish, right? So let me show you. this is still the lowest point, so lower low, and the lower high for this is right here. Price has not broken up, has not broken above or below, so this market structure is still bearish. Right, now let's look for an area of interest right here. All right, so I think we have a valid area of interest right here. So about, let's raise the area of interest a little bit to accommodate other taps. So this right here is 1 rejection, 2, 3 already valid, 4, 5 rejections, 6 rejections, right? So price is currently around that area, and price is bearish on the daily. So let's see how it looks on the weekly. Weekly time frame is also bearish, right? Weekly time frame is also bearish. So this might actually be the first trade I will be liking so far, right? So first of all, weekly, let's see how many rejections. So we have 1 rejection here on the weekly, somewhat of a rejection. I mean, it has multiple rejections though, but should I count it? Okay, let's count it as second rejection and then third rejection. So this is the weekly and daily area of interest. Okay, now let's go to the 4-hour. Now 4-hour time frame is currently bullish, right? So that's what I mean by price is just shifting structure anyhow. In a clearly bearish market from the email, like you can tell, price will now start shifting bullish when it's at area of interest. So now for us to be able to sell this market, we need 4-hour to also shift bearish. It's not a necessity, it's just a thing that I like to do, where the combination of the daily 4-hour and 1-hour is in line with the direction of the trade I want to take, which simply means for me to take a trade, I usually just hope for the daily 4-hour and 1-hour to be, assuming I'm selling, I will need daily 4-hour and 1-hour to be bearish, right? In this case, 4-hour is actually still bullish, so I kind of need that to be bearish as well. And for it to be bearish, we need a break under this low right here. So whatever price is doing, should be doing it until we have this break under this low right here, have a new retracement, then I'll pay attention to selling this market. So we can't really check what the 1-hour is doing because the 4-hour still has a lot of work to do. So until price start having this break on the 4-hour, then we can now look at the 1-hour for the entries. So this might actually be the pair I am liking so far this week. GBP USD as one of my pairs for this week. AUD USD, have I checked GBP JPY? Yep. So AUD USD next pair, let's see. Again, start by deleting everything that we have on the chart to get a clearer perspective. Alright, now let's look at how the daily looks. Now, overall structure, the first thing I've noticed is that price seems to have been selling down time and time again. And the current market structure on this market is clearly bearish, because this right here is the lower low and this right here is the lower high. Weekly time frame is also bearish, lower low, lower high. Right, 4-hour time frame right now is bullish for some weird reason, right? And now let's see, do we even have area of interest? Let's even start from there. So we don't even have area of interest, as you can clearly see. So this is maybe even two taps, so it's not valid. I'm not going to be wasting my time there. Next pair, USD card. Let's see what we have. All right, USD card, daily time frame bearish. There is no two ways about it. The daily time frame is clearly bearish because this right here is the lowest point, and since that is the lowest point, that will be the lower low, lower high. Whatever price action is happening in between that high and low is bearish market structure. Weekly time frame technically is bullish. This was the lowest point and this was the lower high for that, but price has broken above, right, making this market structure bullish. So let's see what we have now. 4 hour time frame is bullish. So let's see how the daily looks again. What did I say daily is? Daily is bearish. So we don't have two time frame in sync. Weekly is bullish, daily is bearish, 4 hour is bullish. So there's no two time frame in sync there. Two time frame in sync means either weekly or daily in the same direction, or daily and 4 hour in the same direction, not weekly and 4 hour, right? So that's what it means. So we don't have two time frame in sync on this market, so we are moving over to the next pair, which is NZD-USD for better opportunities. So let's see what we have on NZD-USD. So NZD-USD market structure is technically bullish. Technically is bullish. So let's look at the area of interest again. So area of interest has 1, 2, 3 rejections, not too strong. But even if market structure is bullish, I'm not still confident on this trade. So let's just continue to see what we have, right? Because if I'm drawing a trend line here, for example, now let's assume we are trying to buy. Let me draw the trend line just to visualize it, right? So we are drawing a trend line right here. It looks like price has shifted bearish, right? Like we just had a trend line break, that kind of things, right? If you are not using trend line, at least use the EME. You can clearly see, seems like price has been holding price as support. Trend line has been holding price as support, and you can see right here, seems like we have shifted bearish, right? Even if the market structure is bullish, just understand how the market is moving, right? So that you don't just enter and just hit SL for no reason. Right now, market structure is bullish because of this high and low, but market structure, internal market structure looks like it's bearish, clearly breaking new lows, right? Now let's see how the weekly is looking. All right, so this is more of like a weekly trade, right? So on the weekly time frame, seems like we have like a break. So weekly is what? Bullish. All right, so weekly is bullish. You have like a break. This might be like a very deeper retracement, and this is not engulfing. So maybe next week can be an engulfing. I'm not still liking it, by the way. I'm not still liking it, but that is the concept behind it. This market could buy. Let's see how the 4 hour is looking right now. 4 hour time frame is currently bullish. Alright, my own game plan for this market is pretty much to wait until we see any clear bullish signs, right? Which means all this market structure right here still looks bearish to me. I need price to be trading around this level to buy. It's just a personal thing. It's not even clean, right? This market this last week was not clean, right? I'm not willing to risk too much if there's no trades. So I don't really like this market. So you see this trend line that I drew right here, right? I drew it on the 4 hour time frame, right? So assuming we have more market structure and price starts to slow down, you will notice that this EME might actually slow down too. And at this point where I say I'm going to be interested, this EME might actually just shift bullish. Do you understand? So it's just like an experienced thing. I don't know how to explain it. If you have slowdown here, the EME will catch up, and if you catch up right here and it has not broken below this area of interest, and we start having bullish signs, which is higher highs and higher lows, and we start breaking new highs, this EME will actually now shift bullish, right? And it will have that trend line break and stuff like that. So this market, I don't think is ready right now, and it might still take like 2 weeks. Let's see, this is a daily time frame, right? Might still take 5 more candles. Okay, this might actually still take 2 weeks to be ready, right? So I'm not interested on this pair this week. NZD JPY. All right, this time frame, first of all, very confusing, right? You just have a support area right here. Weekly time frame, let's see. Again, not so clean. 4 hour time frame. Now 4 hour time frame is clean. We have a very clean. This is just a support level, right? But market structure seems to be breaking Let me show you what I mean. Market structure seems to be like, if you look at the EME, you can see that the EME has no clear direction. It's almost like it's flat. It's not completely flat, but it's almost like it's flat. So it just simply means there's no clear direction, but this market structure is actually bullish, right? Higher high right here, higher low. So I'm not really going to be trading the markets that don't really have a very clean direction right now. Before, it used to have a very clean direction to the upside, as you can see. This right here is pretty much flat to me. So next pair we have, let's see. All right, so USD JPY. Okay, so USD JPY, let's delete everything we have on the chart. Daily time frame. Wow. Weekly time frame. Okay, so weekly time frame, we have a weekly, well, used to be a resistance level, but now it's a support level. I'm sure that's how we predicted that buy on the that I saw that time on the daily time frame. This buy right here, the expected price come back to this area on that weekly area to buy. Anyway, let's see what happens right now. All right, this market structure is still bearish, right? This was the higher high, it broke below, still bearish. I am not interested. AUD card. Let's see how the daily time frame looks. Dude, what's wrong with all this market? Why is the market behaving like this? Like, bullish week, bullish day, bearish day, bullish day, bearish day. No clear direction. We need like at least 3 consecutive days, or at least 2 consecutive days in the same direction, right? Not Monday is bearish, Tuesday is bullish, Wednesday is bearish. We don't need that kind of market structure, because it just causes reversal when you enter a trade and price is now in profit, and then the next day you just pretty much reverse straight to your stop loss. So that's what usually happens. That's why I don't like this bullish day, bearish day stuff, right? Market structure right now, by the way, is very confusing, but if I'm going to be reading it, it's going to be pretty much bearish in my opinion. Weekly time frame. So on this weekly time frame, we expect a deeper pullback, right? But it seems like it's not planned on happening. Let's see 4-hour time frame. Hmm. 4-hour time frame. This might be like a 4-hour trade. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking. 4-hour area of interest right here. So this is going to be a 4-hour area of interest, and I think daily is bearish, right? Yes, daily is bearish. So 4-hour time frame is, well, I can't even see it clearly, right? Is it bullish or is it bearish? I don't like market I'm forcing, but the idea behind this market is that if we have a break and retest right here, we could sell, right? Just keep it close. They are not good markets this week. That's just what I'm seeing right here. I'm observing many pairs. None of them are giving me the direction I want. Daily time frame on Euro USD. Euro USD, please give us something, right? Give us something. Daily time frame is what? Okay, there will be no need to delete everything here. We have a clean area of interest on the daily time frame, right? Now let's see what we really have here. Daily time frame is bearish. Great, right? Great. Weekly time frame is what? Also bearish. Amazing, right? 4-hour time frame, let's see what we have there. Now 4-hour time frame is bullish. Here we go with 4-hour time frame is bullish. So For us to sell, we either need like a break above this high again, right? And then a shift of structure, and then a retracement to previous structure point, and then confirmations to sell. Or if you're not going to be having that, we need price to pretty much shift this structure, this low right here, and a retracement for us to sell. It's also possible that this might not happen this week. But right now, market structure on the 4-hour time frame is bullish. So we cannot really necessarily we cannot buy, since the daily and the weekly are clearly bearish. Alright, so I'll just keep it very close for this week. It's better than some of the pairs I've just seen. Let's go over to the next pair. Alright, so we have GPP, Euro GPP this week. Euro GBP. Wow, what was all these markets? All right, Euro GBP weekly time frame is bearish, right? Lower low, lower high. Daily time frame, let's see what we have there now. Daily time frame, we have a very clean support level right here, but this market structure is actually bearish, right? This is still the lowest point the price has gone to. And the 4-hour time frame is bullish. Usually on the 4-hour time frame, it will make more sense to have a retracement to buy, but remember, the higher time frames are clearly bearish. So buying from this market is just breaking the rules, by the way, right? I expected the buy to happen last week, which it technically did, but I am not going to be trading against the trend, right? So that is the reason I didn't enter this market. And let me even see if there was even an entry, because I highly doubt it will be an entry. So as you can see, there was no even retracement and engulfing to buy. So anyhow, would have still not taken this trade. So this market, the actual direction of this market is for a break and retest under this level to sell, because the higher time frames are bearish, right? Again, this trade is not even going to be happening this week. So let's go. Let's see the next pair. Next pair we have NZD card. NZD card. Again, bearish week, bullish week, bearish week, or bearish day. Don't like it. It's not clean. Let's see how the 4-hour looks first before I give up on this. Let me look at the weekly first. Weekly time frame is looking what? Bearish, by the way. Right. Weekly time frame is no, is it bearish? It's not bearish, it's bullish. Weekly time frame is bullish. Alright, so let me force this trade a little bit just to see what we have. So we have a support level right here on the weekly 4-hour time frame. We have at least 1, 2, 3 taps, so it's pretty much valid enough. Okay, I'm not going to be forcing this trade though. 4-hour time frame, pretty much just shift bullish. So if price is going to be buying, you should start buying from here immediately, as soon as next week. But I don't believe it. I don't actually believe it. I'm still making a decision. You know what? I'll make a decision later. Let me just keep it somewhere around first. Euro NZD, daily time frame. Alright, finally something that looks tradable, right? So this was daily time frame, but this market structure is still bearish, by the way, because this right here is the lowest point, lower low, lower high. So this market is still bearish. Nice try, Diddy. Daily time frame is still bearish, right? But we are seeing breaks above all these highs. So let's see how the weekly looks first. Weekly is bearish, right? Again, high risk trade. This is just a high risk trade. Okay. Damn. Surprise. Alright. Again, two of the higher time frames are in the same direction, apart from the 4-hour time frame again this week. What will make sense for this market is a retracement here to buy, but again, the higher time frames cannot be trading against them. We cannot really be trading against them. If we are going to be trading against any of the time frame, at least against the weekly, because we are not trying to catch more than 1 week of candle. We are not going to be holding trade for 2 weeks or 3 weeks, right? So we at least need a daily 4-hour and 1 hour to be in the same direction. So that one right there, that's why I'm not taking that trade, right? Now let's see what we have on this pair, AUD USD. Let's start with the daily. Let's see what we have. Again, this bearish, bullish, bearish again. I don't like it, right? I don't like it. So, but market structure is what? Bearish. So this right here is the lower low, and this is the lower high, right? So let's just try to force an area of interest right here, because we can barely see it. I'll look on the daily, sorry, on the 4-hour to see how it looks. Let's look at the weekly first. Weekly is pretty much at the higher high. On a normal day, we expect like a retracement at least to around 50%. So let me explain what that means. So if I'm drawing fib, right, we at least expect the retracement to reach here. You know, it's just an expectation, doesn't mean that market must do it, right? So that is weekly time frame, and we have at least 2 weeks of rejection, and this last week seems like we have like a Marabuzu candle right there. So let me show you. You can see right here we have no wick to the bottom. It's possible that we might have a rejection to the downside, right? Okay, so having seen all this, let's continue with what the daily and the 4-hour will give us now. So daily, not so clean area of interest. You can just have like 1, 2, 3 rejections, right? But it's not too clean. It might be cleaner on the 4-hour, but the daily time frame is actually what? Bearish, right? It's actually bearish. Now 4-hour time frame, as you can see, the area of interest is cleaner on the 4-hour time frame. As you can see, clear rejections. As you can see right here, 1 rejection, 2 rejection, 3 rejections, and 4th rejection right here. Again, this price action looks kind of flat. You can tell from the EME. Just look at the EME. It pretty much looks flat. It means there's no actually clear direction for this market, right? But the direction that we are planning on seeing to take this new week is selling, right? So we need price to react of this level first, have a new break, retest, and engulfing for us to sell. So we still need 4 hours to do that first before we pay attention to the 1 hour. So I'm keeping this market close again. At the end of this video, I'll decide which one to add. So Euro AUD next pair. Okay, so we have about 4 pairs to analyze next before we continue, right? So this one, let's start again. So we have what? First of all, no area of interest. Again, on the daily time frame, there's no area of interest, for God's sake. Weekly time frame, right? Just high risk. So what makes sense on this market right now, the only thing that makes sense right here is just a retracement here to buy. But again, the higher time frames are bearish. If you are going to be looking for buys on this market, just know it's a high risk trade. Just know that, right? Again, where's even the 4-hour area of interest? There's barely any area of interest on the 4-hour, so it's not even a good trade. Just know that. You might have maybe like a trend line here, just a safe call to put stop loss, but it's not a good trade at all. It's not a good one, so I'm not adding it for this week. What do we have? We have AED JPY. I don't like this kind of market structures. But we have a clean area of interest. Our market structure is bearish, right? Daily time frame. The last day was a doji. It's very possible it could reject to the upside. So 4-hour is telling me to sell. Daily time frame is telling me to buy. Weekly time frame is pretty much telling me to buy. So for us to buy, what will make more sense to me is a break above this high. So this is exactly what, let me remove this. So this is exactly what I'm looking to see if you are going to be buying. First of all, let's say react from this level, let's say reject off of this level, then have a new break above this high, right? Have a retracement, and that retracement will be retracing to the last previous structure point, and then slow down, hopefully. Then 1 hour we expect an engulfing to buy. So that's pretty much the only game plan that makes sense on this market, right? That is pretty much the only game plan that makes sense on this market. So what should I just bring it close to monitor and see? GBP CHF, I'm pretty sure I'm not interested in this market because I've pretty much not been interested in this market for like months now. Could buy, but not interested. CAD JPY. Okay, let's see what we have on CAD JPY. Daily time frame. Technically bearish, but no area of interest. You see, that's the kind of things I'm talking about. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about. You will have clean markets, but there'll be no area of interest, or there'll be no 2 time frame in sync. So what makes sense on this market to me is a minor area right here on the 4-hour time frame, which barely has 3 rejections, by the way. To me, I'll just count this as 1 rejection and this as 2 rejection. This is not really a valid area of interest, it's just an area that's been respected before, right? So we could actually see reasons here if you can get confirmatory entries to sell this market to at least this structure point, right? So that's the only thing we can really see on this market, but again, it's not a good market to really trade, right? It's not really a good market to trade. So I mean, this pretty much is the only game plan on this market right now. Could just have even the break and retest on the 1 hour time frame is going to have to break on this low, which is already halfway of the trade. I am not interested. So this week again, just like last week, might actually be not good. The only valid trade I have for this week is GBP USD, and it's still not really like a very clean one like that, right? So it's for sales. Again, let me show you what I have. So daily time frame, you can see multiple rejections from area of interest, right? Multiple rejections from area of interest. Price is currently bearish. Weekly time frame is also bearish, as you can see right here. Lower low, lower high is reacting from last previous structure point on the weekly time frame. 4-hour time frame is pretty much going to shift bearish first before we pay attention to this market. So it's even possible that it might not really happen this week, right? So this week and this one is also similar to, which pair is this? Very similar to GBP USD. So okay, this is Euro USD. Okay, they work similar, yes. So pretty much we are still going to be waiting for exactly the same thing we are seeing on GBP USD. NZD card, what am I seeing? NZD card. NZD card just need like an engulfing to buy. AED USD. Okay, so AED USD might actually be good, I think. Alright, so AED USD, I'll add it for this week, like a good trade for this week. Right, let's see GBP NZD. Alright, so GBP NZD, let's see daily again. Okay, GBP NZD is not that bad. I'll add it for this week. So let me see exactly what I was looking at again. 4-hour time frame, we need a break above this high, a retracement to buy. It's not that bad. Final take profit is around here. Okay, Euro JPY, let's see again. Not necessarily interested. AED card, pretty much similar to AED USD for sales. I hope I called AED USD for sales. Yes, for sales. So yes, I know what I'm analyzing because they are actually very similar. Clean area of interest. Okay, AUD JPY for potential buys. So let's just add this AUD card and AUD JPY for this week. So we're having about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pairs to monitor this week. The rest of the markets, I'm not interested in any of them, right? So Euro USD is very similar to GBP USD. I don't know, should we just join two of them for this week? Okay, let's add Euro USD for this week. So these are the pairs I'm going to be paying attention to for this week. In fact, this week, by the way, I'm not really going to be very active because I have exams throughout this week, right? So I just want you guys to know this, just in case I'm not really active on Telegram, so you just understand why. But again, it looks like the market is not really going to be that good for this week, right? So I'm not really going to be forcing any trade if it's not there, right? But these are the pairs that might potentially give us the opportunities for this week, but none of them are going to be playing out as fast as probably GBP NZD. I think GBP NZD, no, 80, I don't know, one of those pairs. Anyway, that's pretty much the pairs we have for next week. I'll create a shorter version of this video to kind of explain it better and also explain it to myself because I'm very confused. And I'll see you guys on next week's setups.